look at question 5 then. And again, greetings, folks. This is still Brightsmind Academy. So yeah. So this, it says sketch the graph. Remember, this is still November 2024. Again, it says sketched below is the graph of f of x, blah, 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 having the domain -1 to negative infinity to 1 and 1 to infinity. So it tells you that it has an asymptote. The domain is from negative this one to that one to 1, but it does not touch 1. So it means this one, it is your what? Your vertical asymptote. Vertical asymptote. Okay. And then it says the graph of f cuts the y-axis at 0 and 1. It cuts the y-axis at 0 and 1. The graph of what? Of f at 0 and 1. Oh, here it is, guys. A line of symmetry of f is given by g of x is equal to x minus 3. So I'm giving the line, the equation of the symmetry. Okay, a line of symmetry of f. So this is I'm giving the equation of symmetry with a positive gradient, guys. So remember, okay, I'll get back to this one. Remember, how do I find the equation of a symmetry? Okay, with a positive gradient. I just take these things. So I was going to say x plus p plus q. Okay, I was going to say this, but now I already know it is now equal to x minus 3. Okay, and I know here I have an asymptote at 1. So it means that asymptote, if here it is 1, on the equation here is going to supposed to be x minus 1. It's going to be x minus 1. Why? Because if I say x minus 1 is equal to 0, can you see it is what I'm going to put there of x minus 1. Okay, so if I know that x, it is x minus 1, and then I can just do mathematics and say x minus 1 plus q is equal to x minus 3, and say if this is x, it means -1 plus q is supposed to be equal to -3, and then q is equal to -3 plus 1, -2. And what is q? Q, it is my what? My y, this one. It is this one. My horizontal asymptote. So I can say, oh, it means my horizontal asymptote, it is -2. Can you see how easy this question is? But let's see what the questions are. But I think we have already answered most of the questions here, guys. Most of the questions here. Write down the value of p. The value of p, write down the value of p. The value of p here, remember when it goes to the equation, is going to be x. If here it is 1, okay? Here, if it is x, it is equal to 1 here. It means on the graph it's going to be x minus 1. So the value of p is -1. Okay, the value of p is -1. And then determine the equation of the horizontal asymptote. Which one is the horizontal asymptote? This one, guys, it is horizontal. So how can I find that? I already know that the equation looks like this for now. A into x minus 1 plus q. And I know that if I want the q here, what information can I use? I have already been given the equation of the asymptote of the line of symmetry, and with the what? It has a positive gradient. I see with the x. So it means now I know that if they wanted me to find the equation of the axis of symmetry, of line of symmetry with a positive gradient, I was just gonna take this thing. Okay, I was gonna say x minus 1 with a positive gradient is just positive plus what? Plus q. But now this part I am already given this, it is this one. So I already know this one, it is given to me as x minus 3. So this one is just x minus 1 plus q is equal to x minus 3. When I solve for q, it's going to be q, it is equal to x minus 3. Then you take this x to the other side, it's going to be -x. Then -1 to the other side plus 1. X and x cancel, and then q, it is equal to -2. And therefore, you are done. The equation for the horizontal asymptote is q is equal to -2. So now it means I now have a full equation now. I now have a what? I now have a full equation. Not necessarily full, because I don't know the value of A as of yet. But I can find it. Why? Because I have a point on the graph which is 0 and 1. But let's see if they want it now. Calculate the value of A. Guys, this was a fairly beautiful question. I was writing it, by the way. So the value of Y here, I have a point on the graph which is 0 and 1. So I am told here, okay, when Y is equal to 1, A, then X it is 0 minus 1 minus 2, and then 1 plus 2. I took this negative 2 to the other side, and then A divided by negative 1 is just negative A. And then it's going to be A, it is equal to this. I'm just going to get 3 here, okay? 3 here, and then A is will be negative 3. Is it fine for A to be negative 3? If A is less than 0, it means it should lie on quadrant 2 and 3. Is it true? Yes, it is quadrant 2 and quadrant 4. So not quadrant 2 and 3, quadrant 2 and 4. And that's the case. And then I'm told that graph F undergoes a transformation to H. Oh, okay. Okay. The domain and range of H are the same as that of F. Oh, okay. The domain and range remains the same here. The domain and range remains the same. So if the domain and range remains the same, it means I'm still on these asymptotes. I did not change my asymptotes because my asymptotes are the ones that are going to be telling me the thing there of the range, because the domain of this one is from negative infinity to 0. It's from negative infinity to infinity, but it should not include 1. Okay. And also the range, but here it is written in this format from negative infinity to 1. And 1 is excluded. Why? Because it does not touch. And from 1 to infinity. So it means the range of the graph is what? From negative infinity to what? To negative 2. Negative infinity to negative 2. And then continues from negative 2 to what? To infinity. Then you see it continues from negative 2 to infinity, but that is not included. And then what? H prime of X, the derivative of H, is negative on its domain. So for H of X to be negative, it means now it is decreasing. Okay, so it means H of X is less than 0 on its domain. So on its domain, this one, F, its gradient is positive because it is increasing. Also here, its gradient it is positive because it is increasing. But I'm told that H on its domain, it is decreasing. So it is now like this. How can it decrease? It's going to decrease. Let me see if this one is decreasing, or it can do something like this, and this one do something like, if it's increasing, it can decrease like this. Let me see. I want to see how it can decrease basically like that. Okay, I think this shape does not make sense. Ne? Let me find another way in which it can decrease. It can decrease if I can do this, guys. If I do this, okay. But it should not touch the ear. Let me see another thing. Oh, guys, if it is decreasing on its domain, I can say, remember the domain is still the same, but it can come here. The graph can come here. It is decreasing. It is still on the domain. I did not change the asymptote. Okay. And this one can come on this side and say, okay, it is on this side. So can you see, I can say this is H. Why? Because let's confirm if the domain is still the same. The domain for this one is starting from negative infinity to 1. Can you see? Okay, let me do this. Can you see that the domain is from negative infinity to 1 and then continues from 1 to infinity? The domain is still the same. Let's confirm I did not change the range. If I did not change the range is still from negative infinity to negative 2 and from negative 2 to infinity. It's fine. Then I'm still good. Then which transformation is possible here? Remember, if h of x is decreasing, it means now if h of x, which is the gradient, is less than 0, it means that your graph is decreasing. Okay? If h of x is decreasing, it means the gradient is less than 0, and it also means that h is decreasing on the interval. Okay, yes. So what transformation can happen here? So can you see they took this line here? It's like they took this graph and they reflected it across this line. This line. They reflected it across this line x is equal to 1. Can you see? It's just they took this part and they did what? They just translated it or reflected it across this line y x is equal to 1. X it is equal to 1 here. And then they took this portion and then they reflected it across that line. When they reflect it, it becomes basically like that. So what I can say is I can say it is reflected. This is what I see. Reflected across the line x it is equal to 1. This is what I see. Maybe there is another thing that we can see from it. We don't know, maybe there is a possible answer again. But I see that one. And then let me see if I can find out something. Okay. What if instead I took this one? I took this graph and reflected it across the line y is equal to negative 2. What would have happened? It would have been like this also again. And this one I reflected across the line y is equal to this one. It would have been like this. So it's either you say reflected across the line y is equal to across the line x is equal to 1, or reflected across the line y is equal to negative 2. Another thing I can see again, I can see I can say, okay, uh, let me see. Guys, you only need one reason. It's either it is this one across the line x is equal to 1 or y is equal to negative 2. Or, let me see, if I were to reflect this one, this line across the y-axis. If I were to reflect this one across the y-axis, this one, it's going to look something like this. Something like that. Okay? But now when I do that, it touches the asymptote, and I shouldn't touch the asymptote. So how can I move this point so that it does not touch the asymptote? This can be negative 1 here. Means the asymptote here it is negative 1, since well this one it is 1. So I can move it 2 units. I can move this point 1 unit so that it reaches the origin. When I move it 1 unit, it's going to look like this. Okay, but it still touches the asymptote, and then move it another 1 unit again. When I move it another 1 unit, it's going to look like that. So can you see it does not touch the asymptote? Please take note of that. So I can say, okay, it is reflected across the y. Okay, when I reflect this across the y, reflect across the y-axis, and then shifted. I shifted it how many units towards that side? 2 units towards the right. Okay. Let's look at this one. Okay, I'm done with this one. Let's look at that one. If I can apply the very same thing now. Okay, this one will just be reflected across the Y. So when this one will reflect across the Y, it will just come there because this is the Y. So it will just be there and then the asymptote of -1. So this one is fine. It's the same. And then what if I decided to reflect it across the decided to reflect it across the X? Let's see. If I reflect this one across the X axis, it's gonna look like this. This point is gonna look like this. This is the image of this one. So I will need the image of this one. This one is the image of this one. I will need the image of that one. So it's gonna be something like that. Okay. Okay, this one when I reflect it across the X is just fine. Let's see this one when I reflect it across the X. Can you see it's gonna be something like let me see if this is -2 here. Okay, so when I reflect it across the X, this one, I'm gonna have the asymptote here at -2, at +2. So my graph will just be something like just reflect across this one. It's gonna be, I will need to move. Okay, it's gonna be something like this. When I reflect it like that, it's gonna be something like this, basically. So, but I need to reflect it across the X-axis. So I can say, I need to move this one upwards first so that it comes here. Okay. And when I do that, it's gonna be this, where when I now reflect this graph that is shifted 2 units up, it's gonna look something like I don't know. Okay, guys, those are the three that I can find. Let me just go and check the memo. What did the memo say? I'm not sure about what the memo, but these are the answers that I can get. Let me quickly confirm with the memo what it says. I'm gonna just go find the memo and then come back with it here. Did I skip any question, guys? I feel like I skipped a question. Yeah. Guys, I skipped a question here. Find the values of x for which f of x is greater than 0. Okay, I'm gonna come to that. Yeah. Let's look what the memo said here. So the memo says, first one, okay, fine. Reflected across the y-axis, then translated 2 units to the right. Is it the correct one? Remember this one, reflected across the y, shifted 2 units to the right, okay? I was gonna be correct. And then reflected across the x and shifted 4 units downwards. Okay, this one I couldn't see it. And then you can say f is reflected across the line x is equal to 1. Here is that one. Beautiful. Or reflected across the y is equal to -2. Guys, it's beautiful. So it's just beautiful things. So let's cover the question that I skipped, guys. I was very happy for this question. Okay. I was happy for this question. So let's see what they ask us to do. They say 5.4, for which values of x will f of x be greater than 0? F of x, when will f of x be greater than 0? F of x greater than 0 means it is above, okay? F of x greater than 0. Where is f of x greater than 0? It's greater than 0 from this point here to there. Okay, so it's greater than 0 there. It is above the graph there. But I need to find what is the coordinate here. What is that coordinate here? Where it cuts. So I need to find the x. Can you see where it cuts? It is the x-intercept. Okay? So for x-intercept, I let y equal to 0. So it's going to be 0, -3, x minus 1, minus 2. And then it's going to be 2. It is equal to -3, x minus 1. When I take x minus 1 to the other side, it's going to be 2x minus 1, like this. And then when I divide by 2, it's going to be x minus 1 is equal to negative 3 divided by 2. And then x is going to be negative 3 divided by 2 plus 1, which is negative 1.5 plus 1 is going to be half. So the point here, it is half. So it's going to be from what? From half. It is above, right? Above or greater. Above or greater. So it's going to be above or greater from half to what? To almost what? But it does not reach 1. So it's going to be from half. From half, I include half to 1. I do not include 1. Why should I not include 1? Because 1, it does not touch there. Okay, it does not touch there. Okay, so yeah, that's that, guys. That's that, guys. Beautiful. Beautiful, isn't it? It's just easy 3 marks. Why? You can get 3 marks by saying, okay, you found the x-intercept and then your correct answer. Okay, ahead. Okay, guys. So yeah, that's that, guys. That's that for this question. It was very, very beautiful. Very beautiful question 5 day off. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, thank you, guys. Let's meet on the next one. Hopefully you enjoyed and learned its transformation and all of that.